Hi everyone, Sean Ruggiero here again, president and founder of Safe Money Smart. I've been asked by social insurance leads to train you on the estate planning lead, a lead that I had a hand in creating, something I'm very proud of. We're going to talk here quickly about, a little bit about the phone script and then actually completing the final wishes guide and the will kit. The phone script, if you didn't hear me rehearse it live or review it, video 1, where we talk about what is an estate planning lead, you can go ahead and watch that video again. But understand that the script is very short, very succinct, easy to set appointments because they want what you have. You are providing them a free service. No deception, no tricks, no gimmicks. I am here, I'm the local licensed agent who is going to complete your final wishes guide and give you your will kit. This is completely free, it'll take about 30 minutes. When are you available? So the script is easy. We want to talk now about the actual final wishes guide right here. All of these documents come with your order through social insurance leads when you purchase your estate planning leads. Also, these are fillable PDFs. So I am showing you paper copies right here. You're not going to use a paper copy. You're going to use an actual digital copy on your computer, which allows you to save that and then distribute it electronically to the client and to their loved ones, okay, the people that they want, what we call the recipients. Now, speaking of recipients, let's start with that. Right here, we have who this final wishes planning guide is for. And if you're sitting down with a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you can just have 2 of them. It's quite easy. You can have 2 PDFs pulled up on your computer, or you could have 2 of these printed out. And they're going to share much of the same information. This is a great way to collaborate and fully understand the estate plan picture and how you can help them as you complete this for the client. So we're going to have the final wishes, who this guide is for. This is a unique guide, kind of like an IRA. It is only for this person, and the date that it's completed. Now, if we look here at the recipient email, and you're going to see there's a spot inside this where we can get even more information. This is very, very critical. What the recipient email is you're asking for who are the responsible parties, the loved ones, that Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, if you're completing this final wishes guide and it's stashed in a drawer or sitting on your hard drive and no one knows where it is, it does you no good. So what we need to do is we need to make sure this gets in the hands of the people that you want to have this final wishes guide. And what are you doing right there? 1, you are providing that service. And I can't stress that enough. Far too many things nowadays, we're putting ourselves first. We're putting our commissions first. That's not a great way to stay in business. It also creates some stressful field appointments if we're trying to work off deception or forcing a sale. If we're here to provide help for their estate plan, for their final wishes, for their will, and for their family, we're going to feel good about doing it. Now, I'll make one note, and I'll stress this throughout this training. You do it expeditiously. You can't be spending 2 hours going through a final wishes guide, waiting for them to look up things that might be lost in boxes. I'm going to show you how you can skip past those things and cover the important things and move through this process in 15 to maybe 30 minutes tops. I think the average should probably be closer to 15 or 20 minutes. But this recipient email here is very important. This is one of the things that I would ask the client to please find right away. So if I'm sitting down with Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith, I'm going to explain, listen, I'm going to need the emails of all the people who you want to receive this final wishes guide. So I saw a couple of pictures. You have 2 kids? Oh, 3 kids. Okay, great. Where do they live? Got it. We don't want to spend too much time smoozing. We want to get an idea of the picture, then stick to the task at hand. Great. So what I need is, do you have their emails readily available on your phone or on your computer? If you do, please get them, because we're going to put them down here, and then they're going to receive copies of this final wishes guide. And obviously, when you're doing that on completion, you're going to be sending that email. I usually recommend CCing the client and BCCing all recipients and explaining, here's a copy of a final wishes guide that I completed for your parents free of charge. Please put this in a safe, secure place. And if you would like me to perform the same service for you, it's how I grow my business. See, very straightforward, very upfront. Just reply back, I'd be happy to do the same for you. So it's a great way to make this a force multiplier, to take 1 lead and turn it into 4, 5, or even 10 leads. Now we skip over to the personal information, first page, very straightforward. We're going to get their name, address, date of birth, state and county of birth. We don't ask for a social security number. We don't want to mess around with that. But if they have an attorney, we have them list that there and the attorney's number. Some of these things they will not have. getting to my point of being expeditious. If someone says, I don't have an attorney, and they look to you like, should I have one? Don't worry about it. No, not necessarily. In fact, most people are going to pass in this world and just go through probate or even quick probate. All right? Being organized will reduce that time and reduce that cost and make things a lot easier. But having an attorney is not a requirement. So just make them feel good about it and say, no, most people don't have an attorney. It's just a question. Now, let's make sure that we know who the person that will handle your affairs is. Your executor is what it's called if it's a will. Your appointee if we just talk about normal probate court. So who is that person? Again, stressing the idea that this loved one, maybe it was your oldest daughter you mentioned, Mr. and Mr. Smith, I need to know their phone number. They're the ones that everyone's going to look to complete this final wishes guide through the probate court when that time comes. The next page, a couple of items here, which are helpful, people like to talk about, and it does give you some insight on how you can help best this person when you go into your sales pitch. But we're going to talk about our final arrangements. So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, are your services pre-planned? Again, most people aren't going to have pre-planned services. If they say yes, great. We can just put the contact and phone number. If they say no, don't make it sound like they need to start doing that. It's really not a requirement, especially if we have this document in the hands of their loved ones. Okay? If they have their pre-planning documents, they put the name, phone number, and where they're located at. Do they have a preference on funeral home? Now let me ask you this, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Do you prefer to be buried or cremated? Okay? It's a question that everybody knows the answer to, most likely. And then you check buried or cremated. And then what are your burial wishes? Do you want your ashes spread out over the Grand Canyon, or do you want to be buried at a certain cemetery? You can put that here. Have you purchased a plot, yes or no? Most people have not purchased a plot, right? But if they have, you can just put the information right here. And these are examples of things that they might not have the funeral home's number readily available. You can quickly go to your computer or your phone and look it up for them. You're helping them out. You're providing a service, and that's nothing. That's very, very easy to find out, and we're ripping through this right here. We're going to go to the memorial service request on the right side. So do you have a place of worship? Many people still, it's religion, it's the name of the church, synagogue, whatever house of worship they have. They want that information here because that's what they want to be affiliated with when they pass, where their service will be. So we quickly write that down. Again, if they need to know the phone number, they don't have it offhand, this is a very easy thing to look up. I can look up a church, I can look up a synagogue on the internet, put the number in, I'm helping them, and we're moving along. Did you serve in the military, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith? Yes, you did. Thank you for your service. Would you like to be buried with military honors? Okay, yes or no? And then probably make a note of what branch of service and what their rank was when they served, when they retired. Here is an elaboration of what we covered on the front. So maybe they don't have the email, or maybe you're an agent who prefers to have a phone number too. Here's why. These are the other people that need to be notified. So when something happens, where is this going to be? Who's going to be notified? And we need multiple people because some people might forget, some people might fall off the face of the earth. We need to have multiple people that you're going to list here that we will send this document to. So we're going to ask for the name of the person, the relationship, and the phone number. Name, relationship, phone number, name, relationship, phone number, just listed here. And again, sending an email out is an excellent idea. But what might even be better, depending on how you feel it will work best, is calling up and say, hi, Susan. My name is Sean Ruggiero. I'm a certified estate planner. I've been working with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, your parents, on preparing their final wishes guide and will kit. So they had listed you as a person that would be their appointee. They want to make sure you have a copy of this. What would be a good email address for you? Great, got it. By the way, Susan, I see you live just a county away. This is a free service I provide. I would love to help you out with that. So if you could, let me know next Tuesday, would you be available, and we can go ahead and stop by. So next section right here, location of important papers. Do you have a will or trust currently? Simple question, yes or no. Where is it located at? Where is the combination for your safe, or who knows it? Notice I'm not asking them for the combination of safe. I have no reason to have that. But if they have a safe combination, keys to a security lockbox or something, a deposit box at a bank, those are things that spur thought. So they might not know, but you're going to ask them, hey, I'm not going to do this right now, but will you make sure to talk to Susan, your daughter, and make sure she knows where these items are at. Okay, so we could just put talk to Susan, talk to Susan. And it's the same thing with the important documents like birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce documents, military discharge papers, whatever it might be. Last thing is this, inventory of assets. Now this is the most valuable piece for figuring out how you're going to pivot and target a sales proposition to help them with their estate plan. Many of these things, such as retirement assets, say if they have an IRA or a 457, that's going to have a direct beneficiary. Same thing with life insurance, and depending on how your real estate is titled. That doesn't matter. Just because it skips probate doesn't mean your estate plan is in good order. So we want to have an inventory of this. So I'm going to ask them, bank accounts. What banks do you have a bank account at? And I'm marking the bank down, let's say XYZ Bank. What type of account? Checking or savings? And then what's your average balance, Mr. and Mr. Smith? Notice I'm not asking them for the account number. That's not necessary. Because if their loved ones came in with a death certificate, they could show that they have a relationship to them, and they are that goes to them or their estate. Retirement assets. YZ Retirement Company has an IRA, has a balance of $400,000, and here are my beneficiaries. You know, great question about beneficiaries because it's going to give them a chance to reflect and make sure that they have the right beneficiaries. Maybe they have an ex-wife or ex-husband that they want to have removed. You spurred the thought to take that beneficiary off and change it. Life insurance, who the insurer is, what type of policy, what the value is and beneficiaries, and same thing with real estate. So just like that, you can see we've completed the final wishes guide. The last thing we have is the will kit. And with the will kit, we're not going to fill it out. Here's how we're going to handle it. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, here's a copy of the will kit. I'm going to also email you a copy. I'm not an attorney, nor am I a CPA. I never want to be construed as giving legal or tax advice. So just to keep from arm's length, you can simply transfer this information at your leisure to that, have 2 signatures as witnesses, and now you have a recorded will too. So hopefully that helps everyone here in covering the script, the final wishes guide, and the will kit. Thank you.